Late October 2021. I was hauling refrigerated freight through western Nebraska on Interstate 80. If you've never driven those highways at night, let me explain something real quick. There's nothing out there. No city lights, no traffic after midnight, just miles of black farmland, old gas stations, an endless road disappearing into darkness. I've been driving trucks for almost 8 years at that point, long enough to know when something feels wrong. And that night felt wrong from the moment I crossed into Nebraska. The weather app kept warning about freezing fog rolling across the highway. Not regular fog, the thick kind that swallows your headlights and makes the road look like it ends 20 feet ahead of you. Around 1:30 in the morning, I stopped at a tiny truck stop outside Ogallala to grab coffee and stretch my legs. The place looked half abandoned. 2 pumps, 1 flickering open sign, and maybe 3 trucks parked in the back lot. Inside, the cashier looked exhausted. Older guy, gray beard, watching some football highlights on a tiny TV behind the counter. I grabbed coffee and one of those terrible microwave cheeseburgers truck stops always sell. Before I walked out, the cashier asked, "You heading east tonight?" I said, "Yeah." Then he asked, "You taking County Road 16 shortcut?" That caught my attention because GPS had actually suggested it earlier to avoid construction delays. I shrugged and said, probably. The guy stared at me for a second too long, then quietly said, "Don't stop for anybody out there." I laughed a little because I assumed he meant hitchhikers, but he didn't laugh back. I should have listened to the way he said it. About 40 minutes later, I took the exit for County Road 16. Big mistake. The road was narrow, completely empty, and the fog got worse almost immediately. My headlights barely reached past the hood of the truck. I slowed down to maybe 40 miles an hour. That's when I saw the woman. Standing on the shoulder, alone, white hoodie, jeans. No car anywhere nearby. She wasn't waving her arms or panicking, just standing there facing the road. At almost 2:30 in the morning, out in the middle of nowhere. Now look, truckers see weird stuff all the time. But every instinct in my body told me not to stop. Still, I slowed down. Because what if she genuinely needed help? As I got closer, I noticed something strange. She wasn't looking at the truck. She was looking down at the ground, completely motionless. I rolled past her slowly, and the second my cab passed, she lifted her head toward me. I swear to God, I've never seen eyes like that before, wide open, not blinking, almost reflective in the headlights. I hit the gas immediately, trying to convince myself she was probably on drugs or mentally ill. Then my CB radio crackled, static at first, then a voice, male, whispering, "You should have kept driving." Every hair on my arm stood up. I grabbed the radio. Who the hell is this? No response. Just static again. A mile later, I checked my side mirror, and my stomach dropped. There were headlights behind me now, a pickup truck. No idea where it came from. It was riding way too close to my trailer. I sped up. The pickup sped up too. Then it flashed its high beams repeatedly. At first, I thought maybe they were warning me about something wrong with the trailer. Then the truck suddenly swerved into the opposite lane beside me. Old black Ford pickup, mud all over it, and the driver was smiling at me, not angry, not road rage, just smiling. Like he already knew something I didn't. Then he pointed ahead into the fog. That's when I saw it. Another truck stopped sideways across the road, blocking both lanes. My heart almost exploded. This was a setup. I slammed the brakes and swerved hard onto the gravel shoulder. The trailer fishtailed violently behind me. I barely kept the rig upright. The black pickup stayed beside me the entire time. Then over the CB radio, the whispering voice came back, closer this time. "You were supposed to stop." I floored the accelerator. The truck bounced violently across the uneven shoulder, while the blocked road disappeared beside me. I didn't even care if I damaged the trailer at that point. I just wanted out. The pickup chased me for another 30 seconds before suddenly falling back into the fog. Then it vanished completely. No headlights, nothing. I drove straight to the nearest truck stop without stopping once. When I finally parked, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my coffee. An older trucker sitting nearby noticed, asked if I was all right. So I told him what happened. The second I mentioned County Road 16, his expression changed. He asked, "Did you see the woman?" I felt sick instantly. I said yes. Then he nodded slowly like he'd heard it before. Apparently truckers around that area had been reporting similar encounters for years. Woman on the roadside, pickup truck appearing afterward, blocked roads, missing drivers. Most people brushed it off as urban legends. But a few months later, a driver hauling furniture disappeared along that exact stretch of road. Truck found abandoned. Driver never located, and to this day, whenever I drive through Nebraska at night, I stay on the interstate. No shortcuts, ever again. I've been driving long-haul routes across the Midwest for almost 11 years now. And if there's one thing truckers learn fast, it's that nights on the road get weird. Not ghost story around a campfire, weird. I mean, genuinely uncomfortable things that stick with you years later. Most truckers have at least one story they refuse to explain at truck stops. This is mine. Back in February of 2021, I was hauling refrigerated freight from Denver to Indianapolis. Frozen meat load. Nothing special. The route took me through eastern Colorado, then Nebraska, overnight before sunrise. That drive is brutal during winter. Miles of empty highway, no towns, no lights, just darkness and flat land forever. I was somewhere outside North Platte around 2 a.m. when the storm started getting bad. Snow blowing sideways. Visibility maybe 50 feet. The kind of weather where every trucker grips the wheel tighter and turns the radio down automatically. I switched my CB radio on mostly to hear road conditions from other drivers. At first it was normal chatter, accidents, ice patches, scale house warnings. Then the static started. Loud bursts of static cutting through conversations every few minutes. I figured weather interference. Happens all the time. Then I heard her voice. Very calm, very clear. "Can anybody hear me?" The entire CB went silent. One trucker answered, "Yeah, go ahead." No response. Just static. A minute later. Same woman again? "Can anybody hear me?" This time her voice sounded closer somehow, like she was sitting inside the cab with me. Another driver finally responded. "What's your location?" Nothing. Just dead air. Then an older trucker came over the radio immediately after, and I'll never forget his exact words. "Everybody stay off channel 19 tonight." Somebody laughed and asked why. The old trucker answered, "Because she only talks when somebody dies out here." Silence. Then static again. I remember laughing nervously because truckers mess with each other constantly, especially during storms. But deep down, something about the voice bothered me. About 20 minutes later, traffic completely disappeared. No headlights ahead, none behind me. That alone felt Strange, because Interstate 80 always has trucks moving overnight. Always. Then my GPS suddenly rerouted me. It told me to exit the interstate because of an accident ahead. The detour sent me down a smaller state highway buried in snow. I should have ignored it. But I trusted the GPS. Big mistake. The farther I drove, the worse the road conditions became. No streetlights, no houses, just snowfields and fence posts disappearing into darkness. Then the CB crackled again. Same woman, but this time she said something different. "You shouldn't be here." My stomach tightened instantly. I grabbed the CB microphone. "Who is this?" No response. Then suddenly, another voice cut in, a man screaming, loud, panicked. "Turn around right now!" The transmission ended in horrible static. At that exact moment, my headlights hit something standing beside the road. A woman, white dress, no coat, standing perfectly still in the snow. I slammed the brakes instinctively. The truck fishtailed hard before stopping halfway across the icy road. The woman never moved, didn't wave, didn't react, just stood there staring toward my truck. I couldn't see her face clearly because of the snow blowing around her. But something felt wrong immediately. No footprints, no car nearby, nothing. Just this woman, standing alone in freezing weather miles from civilization. My CB radio exploded with static so loud it made me jump. Then the old trucker's voice returned. And this time he sounded terrified. "Do not let her in the cab." The woman suddenly started walking toward my truck. Slowly. Not struggling through the snow either, almost gliding across it. That's when survival instinct kicked in. I slammed the truck back into gear and accelerated hard. The trailer slid sideways before finally catching traction. I looked in my side mirror as I drove away, and I swear to God, she was still standing in the exact same place, watching. About 10 minutes later, I found another truck parked sideways near a ditch with hazard lights flashing. A state trooper SUV sat nearby. I pulled over immediately. The trooper walked up to my window looking exhausted. First thing he asked, "Did dispatch reroute you down this road too?" I said yes. He stared at me for a second, then quietly said, "Why, there is no detour." My blood went cold. Apparently multiple drivers that night had reported strange GPS reroutes during the storm. 2 trucks had already crashed farther down the road. 1 driver died before emergency crews arrived. Then the trooper asked me something I still think about. "Did you happen to hear a woman on Channel 19? I just stared at him. The trooper sighed slowly and looked back toward the snow-covered road behind me. Then he said, "You're not the first." He refused to explain further. Eventually, they redirected me back toward the interstate once conditions improved. I finished the route the next morning running on almost zero sleep. For weeks afterward, I tried convincing myself exhaustion caused the whole thing. Until 1 month later, I stopped at a truck stop outside Omaha and told the story to an older driver sitting at the counter. The man listened quietly the entire time. Then he asked me one question. "What color was the dress?" I told him white. The old driver nodded slowly. Then he reached into his wallet and pulled out a faded newspaper clipping. It showed a black and white photo of a crashed car buried in snow from the 1980s. According to the article, a woman froze to death after walking for help during a Nebraska blizzard. Guess where it happened? County Road 16. To this day, I never drive that route during winter anymore, and whenever my CB radio starts filling with static late at night, I turned Channel 19 off immediately. I've driven freight through almost every state in America: Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Oklahoma. And if you ask any trucker what the creepiest roads are at night, a lot of them will mention old stretches of Route 66. Not because of ghosts, not because of urban legends, because parts of that road feel forgotten, like the world moved on and left them behind. This happened in New Mexico during the summer of 2022. I was hauling electronics from Phoenix to Oklahoma City. Easy run. Nothing unusual. Around midnight, I realized I was running low on gas faster than expected because of a fuel gauge issue on the truck. Not dangerous yet, but enough to make me nervous. GPS showed an old rest stop about 30 miles ahead off Route 66. It looked operational on the map, so I kept driving. Big mistake. The farther east I went, the emptier the highway became. No cars, no headlights, not even radio stations coming through clearly anymore, just static. The desert at night feels different from forests. Forests feel alive. The desert feels dead. Flat black land stretching forever under moonlight. At around 1:15 a.m., I finally saw the sign. Rest area 1 mile. The sign looked ancient. Bullet holes through parts of it. Rust hanging off the edges. Still, I needed fuel and a break badly. The rest stop appeared suddenly out of the darkness. One gas pump. Tiny building. 3 old vending machines glowing beside the entrance. And not a single vehicle anywhere. No employees either. I parked beside the pump and stepped out. The heat hit me immediately. Even after midnight, desert air felt like opening an oven. The entire place was silent except for the buzzing fluorescent lights overhead. That silence bothered me instantly. No insects, no wind, nothing. I tried the pump. Dead. Screen completely black. Perfect, I muttered. That's when I heard the knocking. 3 slow knocks. Coming from inside the building, I turned toward the glass entrance doors. Nobody there. The lights inside flickered weakly. I walked closer carefully. And I wish I hadn't. Inside the rest stop. Every chair and table had been stacked into one massive pile against the far wall, like somebody cleared the room out in a hurry. Then I noticed the security cameras. At least 6 of them mounted inside. All pointed directly toward the entrance, watching the parking lot, watching me. That uncomfortable feeling in my stomach got worse immediately. I backed away from the door, then the knocking happened again, this time louder. Bang, bang, bang. Definitely from inside the building. I stared through the glass, trying to see movement. Nothing. Then one of the vending machines suddenly turned off. Then another. Then another. Until the parking lot became almost completely dark except for my truck headlights. That's when the CB radio inside my truck crackled loudly. I nearly jumped. A voice came through the speaker. Male. Panicked. Don't go inside. I ran back toward the truck immediately, grabbed the CB microphone. Who is this? Static. Then they wait inside. The transmission cut out completely. My heart was hammering now. I locked the cab doors immediately. And that's when I saw movement behind the building. At first it looked like shadows, then figures. Tall figures slowly walking along the backside of the rest stop. At least 4 of them. Maybe more. I couldn't see faces, just silhouettes, moving unnaturally slow under the dim security lights. Then one stopped and turned toward my truck. Even from that distance, I could tell it was smiling. Wide. Too wide. The CB radio exploded with static again. Then the same voice whispered, "Turn off your lights." I froze. Then suddenly every exterior light around the rest stop shut off at once. Total darkness. I've never experienced darkness like that before. The moon disappeared behind clouds at the exact same time for several seconds. I literally couldn't see outside my windshield. Then something tapped the side of the truck. My entire body locked up. Another tap. Closer this time. Near the driver door. I grabbed the flashlight beside the seat and pointed it toward the window. Nothing there. Then came the third tap. Behind me. From the sleeper compartment. I spun around so fast I nearly fell from the seat. Nothing. But the tapping continued. Soft. Slow. Almost playful. Tap, tap, tap. Then every mirror on the truck suddenly reflected movement around me, shapes circling the cab outside. I started the engine immediately. The second the headlights came back on, I saw them clearly. People, at least 6, standing silently around the truck. Pale faces, dirty clothes, smiling, none of them blinking. I slammed the truck into gear and floored it. One figure actually stepped directly in front of the truck as I accelerated, but at the last second, it moved aside slowly, still smiling. I drove almost 90 miles nonstop before finally pulling into another truck stop near Tucumcari. I told another driver what happened. The guy looked uncomfortable immediately when I mentioned the abandoned Route 66 rest stop. Then he asked, "Did the vending machines shut off first?" My stomach dropped. Apparently, multiple drivers over the years reported strange encounters there. Missing travelers, broken down vehicles found abandoned, CB radio voices warning drivers away. But the creepiest part, according to locals, that rest stop officially closed in 1997. Nobody's supposed to be there anymore. And yet, truckers still report seeing the lights on late at night in the desert. If this story gave you chills, hit like and subscribe before the next one finds you,